Hey guys, and welcome to my Making Ultimate Tic-Tac-Toe in Minecraft series. Last episode, I finished and demoed my display. In this video, I'll show you how I'm going to compress all 360 input lines into just 21. Okay, it might be more like 180 depending on how you look at it. Each storage latch that drives a specific part of the display has two input lines, a set and a reset line. The reset lines all need to be connected together so that with a single redstone pulse we can clear the entire board. That's just about where it stops being easy though, and the set lines all require a bit of unique logic in order to decode the input lines. Let's start by looking again at what the input signals even are. We have 9 pixel select lines that correlate to the 9 pixels in each board. We have 9 local board select lines that correlate to the 9 local boards. We have a big small piece line, and an XO line. Before we get too into the logic, I'm going to show you how I want to be able to turn on an individual piece on the board. Let's hypothetically make this piece an X. We can do that by first activating the XO line, so that it will register as an X. We can then choose the bottom middle pixel select, which activates all 9 bottom middle pixels on the board. We don't want to address all 9 of the pixels though, as just this pixel is meant to be activated. By activating the top middle local board line, we can see that now only the correct pixel will be activated. Since I haven't added any additional verification circuitry, the pixel should immediately display an X the moment we select the local board. So we just need a system for each pixel that can see if it's the local board and piece select inputs are on, and if so, see if the X and O bit is on, and display either an X or O for its piece. That might seem very complicated, but it's easy enough to accomplish with just 2 AND gates. Consider a setup like this for instance. It might look very complicated, but it's actually just 2 AND gates stacked on top of each other. The bottom AND gate is meant to connect to the XO SR latch, and the top AND gate is meant to connect to the activation SR latch. The inputs for the bottom AND gate are the piece select line, the local board select line, and the XO line. If all 3 are high, we are addressing a specific piece and telling it to be an X. But what if we want the piece to activate, but be an O? Well, that's what the top AND gate is for. It's just looking for the piece select and local board lines. If they're both high, then the gate turns on and triggers that SR latch. These gates might look a little weird, but they're actually the exact same one I demoed in my logic gates video that I have on screen now. They're just physically changed a bit to be a bit more space efficient. So now I just need to create this gate setup 9 more times and run all the pixel select, XO, and board select lines. I'm also going to run all the reset lines, which again just connect to all the reset signals on the SR latches. With the power of editing, you got to skip 3 hours of, well, very boring work. Before I copy everything over though, I wanted to give it a partial test. I have a single local board here. Let's try to activate every pixel. First I need to turn on the local board select line. I've denoted these with brown wool. There's only one at the moment since there's only one local board. This line runs to all the double AND gate setups for each piece in the board. Next I need to turn on the pixel select line. I want to test every pixel, so I'm just going to turn them all on. And when I swing over to the gates again, you can see the activation SR latch is on for all the pixels, and the XO latch is off. On the front, you can see that every pixel is displaying an O. Now if I toggle the reset line, you can see that all the latches turn off and the display returns to showing nothing. I'll do one more test where I try to draw an X. By making the XO, piece select, and board select lines high, both the activation and XO latches store a 1. Swinging over to the front, the board shows all X's. There is one more thing to tackle, and that's the big pieces. These are similar to the small pieces actually and only need a little more logic. If I use the big small piece line, local board lines, and the XO line, I can create another similar setup to before. If the big piece line is activated and the local board line is activated, the display will latch this and show a big O. Another AND gate will exist that has one more input, the XO line. This will activate the local board XO latch. Now here I show them as a stacked AND gate setup, and I could do this again, but I chose not to because the physical locations of the XO latch for the local board and the activation latch for the local board are actually far enough apart it makes sense to use 2 separate gates. That's all the logic, and now it's time to route wires. I've been working on this for about 7 hours, and that's with the help of structure blocks, since I just don't have the time to do this all by hand. With all the wiring finally done though, let's try to manually play a game of Ultimate Tic-Tac-Toe on the board. So you see us start here by selecting the middle local board, the X piece, and the middle piece. And this should light up the center pixel of the center local board with an X. And now it's O's turn, and they have to go in the middle local board, so I'll select that here. I won't toggle the XO line since I want it to be an X, and I've decided to go into the top right position. Now it looked like I selected the top left pixel there, but those inputs are actually mirrored, and the top right pixel is selected with an O. Now this means that X has to go in the top right local board. So you see I'm selecting that here, I'm selecting an X, and I end up deciding to go to the for the middle left position. So swinging back over to the front, you can see that gets selected. And so I do this a few more times. and it's a bit clunky to go back and forth. I could always route the wires to a more convenient location so that I can look directly at the board and the signals can go further back. But there's a bigger problem here, and it's that this is really annoying. In fact, you can see here I even forgot to select an X. I ended up selecting an O, and now the entire game's ruined since there's no way to reset a single pixel. Now, this is the sort of thing that really could be handled by some control logic. It's pretty easy to see once one player goes, the other player has to go next. And in fact, we'll be tackling that in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a deeper look into the game's control logic. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask below. Until next time.